Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be letting you know why exactly I love Tier 9 autoloaders in World of Tanks. Today featuring two Tier 9 medium autoloaders. Firstly, an auto reloader in the form of the Standard B. This is the Tier 9 Italian tank. It's inside the tech tree. It's absolutely fabulous. I fell in love with this tank since it was first introduced. Since then it has had its gun handling nerfed multiple times. However, no matter what wargaming seemed to do to this vehicle, it just seems to still absolutely pump. Now, why is that the case? Well, firstly, let me talk about why I shot that. I wasn't aiming at the 252U. I was just trying to knock down that barrier, so if they go behind it, I'm still able to put a shell into the IS-32. I wish I'd done it a little bit earlier. If I'd done it a little bit earlier, maybe there was an opportunity to still be able to get the Object 252U. But it really shows you should probably go the long way around that rock and not the short way if you've got opportunistic mediums. So the Standard B has the full Tier 10 gun Tier 9. One of my favorite things about this tank is getting that full-blooded gold, that 330 pen at Tier 9, meaning that irrelevant of what kind of a matchup you get into, even if you're against Tier 10s, it doesn't matter because you've got the penetration of a Tier 10 tank. So if you can't use a Tier 10 penetration, then what are you doing, right? I guess the only issue is that this vehicle, it's just gun handling is a little bit whiffy compared to the Progetto at Tier 10. It doesn't have the best of accuracy as we can see at long range, so unless I'm willing to make a full intuition switch out to load gold there to engage the tortoise, I really don't stand too much hope. And in retrospect, I wish I had switched out to gold, even if I am in a top tier matchup here against some Tier 8s as well. I think the heat rounds on this tank would have done way better against the tortoise in that scenario. So this vehicle is just this wonderful 3-round auto reloader. So you have all of kind of the benefits of being able to dump 1,080 damage in 6 seconds, which is very nice. Or you can fire the shells one by one and not make your reload terrible. So you can just you can kind of like be an assassin, but you can also still make a single shot version play in this vehicle. And so it allows you to be oh so flexible and to really bend the situation into your favor. Do you want to play that single shot role to just grind an opponent down to 700 hit points, or so like about 800, 900 hit points, and then dump the 3 rounds in when you commit to lose your hit points to make that assassination play? Well, you can. Or do you want to just try and make an opportunistic trade against a tank that has a very long reload, and woof, that's a clutch shot there up onto the top of the IS-32. Do you want to try and make that opportunistic trade against a tank that you could just dump 2 out and manage to reload? So you see that I've dabbed my 2 key once here, so wow, nice play by the tortoise. I think that might have been blind there by the tortoise, showing that tortoise is quite the player. So I wanted to dump both the rounds out, but oh my word, taking that artillery shell as well as the blind fire from the tortoise, wow. Couldn't really expect that. Interestingly here, the M5355 in our team says, track the tortoise, please. Your artillery, what you want us to try and not damage the tortoise by tracking it to hold it in place? It's not exactly the fastest of tanks artillery, although, I appreciate the effort there. The decision you've really got to make in this tank is, should you wait to reload? And the answer is pretty much yes, especially in a situation like this where the tortoise stays still, which allows us to fire 1, pull back behind the ridge. Looks like I'm right on that kind of cusp of whether he's going to spot me or not at this kind of distance. This vehicle has tremendous camera rating while moving. It's 12% while moving base, which you can easily get up to kind of like the near the 40 range mark if you're willing to use an exhaust of one of your builds. And yeah, we can just get that like cheeky double tap in between that tortoise's 5-second reload, and that's how we make trades. And hey, not today, artillery. I am taking a gander to try and see if I can try and figure out where that artillery is. And after the tortoise took those 2 shells in quick succession, I'm pretty sure that tortoise isn't going to be hanging around on that ridge line any longer. So this vehicle, it really still does need some time to be able to work these engagements. If you want to play something that, should we say, is more bursty and has the opportunity to really overpower its opponents with its damage per minute in that way, you're probably best to either play a single shot tank, or you're best to play something like a Skoda T50, for example. This vehicle is kind of the best of both worlds. Single shot damage per minute, although without a gun rammer, it's never going to be good damage per minute for Tier 9. It definitely feels like it's more of a Tier 8 damage per minute than a Tier 9 damage per minute. But as long as you do have that downtime to recover, then you're going to be okay. Dang, that ELC even 90 clearly has come across and has some excellent view range to be able to spot me there. Because this tank, as I said, does have really good camo. So that ELC must have tremendous view range, maybe even a vision system as well. And that stops me from being able to try and flank across, try and get some shots over down towards the south. But luckily for my team is actually managing to win the north. Now, I know that the biggest issue that this big glut of tanks is going to have over towards the north will be pushing from here to here, especially with a tortoise up on the ridge. So what I feel my job is in this situation is to try and get underneath their gun line, take a little bit of a risk here while we still have hit points. Not just me, but also our team, to try and spot out the tanks to make this kill zone that they have to push through a little bit less of one. And yeah, we managed to get the Object 265T. I think that's a Tier 9 auto-loading premium Soviet heavy that might be coming to the game. It's obviously being super tested right now. And we stopped that player from being comfortable. We stopped the tortoise from being comfortable. And just this sweeping push play right now, tremendous for the game. Tremendous for our combines. Just a perfectly timed assault that you can do in your Tier 9 medium tanks with their exceptional camo. And while the artillery puts that little annoying 200 of tanks into my tank, that was nearly the perfect move there to put us now up to kind of like the 4,500 combined mark, which is great for a Tier 10 tank and really good for a Tier 9. But we're not done now. Or we're not done yet, I should say. We're not done yet. Interesting, this artillery saying, bye, have a great time. Is that because the artillery thinks that they're dead? Foy 420 in our base is having a good time. He presses his F7 key for help and rees in the chat. Brilliant. Well, while you're reeing, mate, he's actually managed to get out and go up towards the north, so good play there by a fast artillery. But while they're managing to do that, we're going to take some shells at the Hori 2 in their base. And I was thinking to myself, maybe we can go and get ourselves our first ever kill on an Object 265T. That vehicle, I wonder if it's really going to be able to compete with the 752. The Object 752 is the best Tier 9 premium in the game, probably, all in all. I'd say it's even better than the DZT. And luckily, we managed to finish it off, pick up our 5th kill of the game. Destroying a 3rd of the enemy team is always nice. And maybe, just maybe, we'll even get one into the back of the Hori, but we weren't quite quick enough. And the other awesome Tier 9 manages to, the Char Future 4, that is, finishes off the Japanese Tier 8. Okay, so, moment. A very important moment of the game. This is the second important moment where we're going to have to make a decision. The enemy are capping, 41 seconds left. Do I ever think the XM57 is ever going to be able to spot the cap circle? Probably not. Okay, next, will it take these tanks here, the Char Future 4, and will it take the Emil, will it take them 8 seconds to be able to get into the cap circle? Because that's how long. I need both of them capping within 8 seconds for all 3 of us to be capping, if we're able to win within that like 5 seconds window where we have to fully cap before the enemy team does. I don't think so. So I felt that the only chance that we had to win in this game was to yeet back to the base and to see if we could get the spotting. Now, if it's the BZ176 capping, I should be able to see them. If it's the ELC even 9432, I'm not going to be able to see them from the mid-ridge. So I'm going to try and crest the ridge up here. The artillery should be hopefully stopping soon and pre-aiming for the shot. Okay, he's still driving towards the cap circle. And I'm just looking, and we just get the BZ176. Okay, so this is another important moment. In this kind of a situation, when you know that you are going to have to make the pressure shot, you want to give yourself as much time as possible to make that shot, but you can't be looking at the top of your screen if you're also trying to adjust your reticle over the enemy tank and aiming. So what I like to do here, when I know I'm going to have those last few seconds, is I'll start counting, and I'll time it so it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I give myself about half a second for the server tick, and we get the interrupt there. We got the 50 base defense points against the BZ-176, and that allows us to follow it up. And clearly it's an ELC even 90 somewhere in the cap circle. Not sure where the ELC even 90 is going to be, but right now I'll just wait for a full reload. The 432 could be somewhere, and there is the ELC even 90. And the Char Future 4 once again picks up that kill on our spot. Beautiful stuff. Up to 7,000 combined now. Top gun to our name, and it could have very easily been a Radley Walters medal at this point. And our artillery is giggling in chat. Holy moly, they say. Char Future 4, don't top. I guess he means don't stop. The artillery once again says, that scared me. Char says, that was a close one. Yeah, indeed, it definitely was. And these are the kinds of little micro advantages that you can give to yourself to give yourself the advantage. Interestingly, the artillery says, lucky you had me, Batchat. I stopped the BZ-176. Mwahahahahaha. Well, I could say something now. Like, it was kind of actually me who spotted, and it was actually me who got the interrupt shot on the BZ-176. To be fair, the artillery did hit him very soon afterwards, but it might have been too late. Maybe they would have fully capped, as we were down to literally half a second to be able to interrupt the cap circle. But you know what? This artillery seems to be having such a good time. I'm just going to let the artillery have their good time, you know? And we'll see whether... well, we don't need to see. Rewind the video and you can see that we got those 40 or 50 base defense points against the BZ-176. All right, so in this kind of a situation, I have to admit, in this situation, there's a full health Char Future 4 in front of me. I don't think he should stop. I'm going to imagine that he's going to continue to drive forwards, and I do bump him a little bit, and then I stop as soon as I see that I have the shot on the tank. In that kind of a situation, if he was a one-shot, I definitely wouldn't have bumped him. But considering that the Char was a one-shot, was not a one-shot, he was on full health, I have no problem with, shall we say, becoming Commissar QuickyBaby and encouraging players to not sit in a choke point. With the Char rewarded with their third kill of the game. And this was just a banger. It was pretty much 8,000 combined and a top gun. This was just why I love this vehicle. I could play single shot. I could also work in 2 shots when my opponents have a 5 seconds reload against the tortoise. I could make an aggressive push play with the camo rating that I had to help my team through the choke point, and then make literally down to the second decisions with the mobility that the vehicle has to help save the game. So round 2 in another auto loader. This time the classic French tier 9 Batchat 25T AP. So the big decision that I like to make at the start of my games is, am I using my damage setup, which on a vehicle like this is probably going to be vents, vert stabs, and maybe coated optics, or am I going to use a spotting build? And I decided on this map that it's almost impossible to break through between this A1 area and the A6 area, and so I'm willing to take the sacrifice of a little bit of my combat capacity with my gun handling and with my all-round cruise skill from the vents to make sure that I have the camo and the view range to really spot out and to make that breach. Okay, so one of the important things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and knock down that tree early, and once I've knocked down that tree, it actually covers my approach against the DZT-159. And also, we get rewarded with a nice tasty little bit of spotting against the 45 TP there. So this should allow me now to make my way up. And I'm just going to dip my toes in. See, my sixth sense doesn't go off. And just checking. Yeah, I'm not spotted. So this is where the exhaust is just going to really pay off in this kind of an engagement. And that'll allow me to catch the 45 TP. But also, what I'm going to do is just make the bushes even thicker still. I'm going to drop another tree in between me and the DZT. Then I'm going to go behind that tree and I'm going to start to shoot through. Now, interestingly, he does spot me in this situation. I'm going to pay a little bit of tax. Luckily, he missed me, and that's going to allow me to finish off their tier 9 medium in this game. Now, I do pay a little bit of tax against the T25-2 and the AT-15, but I do feel like it's almost worth it to be able to just get rid of that tier 9. If I hadn't got hit by the T25-2, it would have been an even better trade. It was still an alright one. Okay, so as I make my way down this slope, something really unexpected happens. I get spotted. That means that that's not somebody on the ridgeline spotting an exhaust Batchat. I've probably got like 35% camo in this tank as I'm running the exhaust. This likely means that somebody is maybe in a bush here, or maybe one of the bushes around here, but I don't have a choice because I know where their gun line was, and now it's just about trying to avoid taking as much damage as possible. So I swing across, use the ridge, think about stopping, but I decide that it's probably going to be safer to make a play and to try and get up underneath the gun line. We repair our track quickly. Again, going to turn in to just try and make that ridge line is going to be as awkward as it can possibly be to the AT-15. And now just think about what bush were they in when we managed to take a gander across. All right, so the AT-15 is getting really lit up, but unfortunately he only took about 400 or maybe about 500 spotting in that situation. So we're just going to crest the ridge again, make these two that made me pay tax now have to pay tax, hopefully, for my team managing to engage them. Artillery gets a great shot in there. Great splash from the S-51. And I'm just going to poke up again. I'm not sure if I'm spotted right now from the center, but I could probably gain more information about where I think they possibly are if this ridge line is blocking vision. My sixth sense doesn't go off. I'm really not sure if I'm spotted, and all it will take is a random Borsig shell to just remove me from the game. But I feel we've got an opportunity here. Let's just rip and tear until it's done. And the Char actually spots me from the side there. I'm not sure if that Char's AFK or if they're still here. It is kind of like close to where the starting position would be. But no, they're clearly not AFK. They were aiming at me there. Put another one in, and man, does this tank feel great when it gets going. And to have this big old mag as well. Ooh. Unfortunately, though, the Scorpion managing to put in 444 damage. And now I'm a one-shot to a lot of the enemy team. Got to be careful. Luckily, my Scorpion manages to finish off the AT-15. Unfortunately, the Char Future 4 finishes off the Yak Panther and remains alive. And I'm just going to have to end up reloading for 25 seconds here. So, decent start to this round, you know, 5,600 combined. And more importantly, I've got my team across the choke point. And this is what you have to do as a medium tank player. And it's why I quite often like to take a pure spotting build to have the capacity to push through those choke points and to spot the enemy team on the other side. Wow, nice. There was the Super Hellcat. It's a really good passive spotting location there. Respect to the Super Hellcat for that play. I expect they managed to get a good amount of spotting from that scenario and tried to keep their team in it. And kept this game very close. In fact, we're still down on hit points even if we are up a kill. But that's one of the things that you've got to do as a medium. Push through those choke points. And that's why I love quite a lot of the Tier 9 autoloaders. Obviously not something like a T-54E1, but you can love that tank for different reasons, right? But tanks like this, tanks like the Standard B, tanks like the UDES 3-3, they're all so fabulous. The Char Future 4 as well. Amazing tanks for having the firepower to handle unexpected situations, but also still have the camo to be able to play like a light tank when teams are lacking them. So Scorpion doesn't manage to see me, probably because of our camo build there. That means that I'm going to try and wedge up into this little tree here. Can I go a little bit close to see if I can spot the 5100? Did I go too far up there? No, I didn't. I also managed to spot the Char while remaining unspotted. And I'm thinking, do I go up here and assassinate this player? Can I manage to do it? Can I get out? I'm looking for the 5100. Ooh, is this risky? Or is it something that's needed to be done to be able to get through this game? I'm hoping that my team are going to take them out. But now that all the vision has kind of reset, I'm going to poke up, spot the Char again. I wonder why my team don't just shoot down the soft building he's behind. That's something I'm going to do myself. I should be able to shoot, and I've got like a 2.5 second or 2.7 second Nitra on this tank. And that allows me to shoot through the building and finish them off. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. And suddenly this game is definitely not looking like it's so close. With all of our heavies marching through the south, unless they get absolutely destroyed by a single Type 4 heavy, I just feel like my job is done. So, Tier 9 autoloaders in World of Tanks. Amazing, honestly. I think if I was to pick any kind of class and any kind of tier in World of Tanks, it would be Tier 9 autoloaders would be my favorite. I love Tier 9 matchmaking. It feels so much more varied than Tier 10. You get hardly any same tier matchups, so it always feels like you're doing something different. And they have, well, not this tank, but a lot of them have Tier 10 guns. And to have like a Tier 10 gun at Tier 9 with kind of 90% of the capabilities of the Tier 10 vehicles, and quite often similar kinds of firepower output with the intraclip reloads, man, these things just feel tremendous. And like being able to just go after that artillery and then immediately go after the Scorpion as well. Wonderful. It doesn't look like this Progetto is going to be able to see me anymore with the exhaust. So they lose an automatic fire extinguisher. Oof, it's minus 10k. But maybe it will be able to keep them alive in this situation. And I'm actually very surprised that we lost so many tanks there. How did we manage to lose all of those vehicles? Looks like the Scorpion went down swinging on the enemy team. And it's just me, a 50 TP, and an XM57. And like, I've seen stranger losses. Luckily for me, this Progetto doesn't really think about shooting the building down there. I guess they just decide they want to fully reload. And I have to admit, that push play by me was a little bit risky. If I got caught there, that Progetto might have been able to go back to base, kill the arty, and then turn this into either a draw or alternatively try and make some hero play in the bushes. In this situation, it's kind of like the Fox and the Hound. So we just got to try and move our pieces into positions where the Progetto is unable to get us. But the fact that I got spotted there, that definitely kind of had me spooked. I don't know where the Progetto is right now. And honestly, even in retrospect, I still don't know where the Progetto is. All I do know is that being up to 7,000 combined and 6 kills, just like with the standard B. And this happened on the same evening from that standard B game. So it looks like the 50 TP is getting absolutely smashed. And this is what I'm saying about it being scary. Luckily, the Progetto actually does get spotted there. We're going to hit their tracks, but not take them off. Managed to put one extra shell in, and suddenly things are starting to look a little bit more perilous for the Fox here in this situation. As the XM57 is cresting the ridge, are they going to be able to put in that meaty 600 damage shell? Surely they can't miss from that angle. Oh, really? 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 So I guess I'm going to have to play a little bit safe here still. If I crest the ridge, he's going to be able to get me. Did I get spotted there through the bush? I actually didn't, so that means that maybe I can be on the hunt. And now he's a one-shot. I got to take the risk, right? There you go. Half the enemy team destroyed in the bat chat with a tasty 7,700 combined round. And dudes, this is just why tier 9 autoloaders, and even not the mediums, even the TL7 is phenomenal in the tank destroyer sense. And even, you know, the Contraccaro, the tier 9 Italian auto-loading tank destroyer, although it doesn't really feel like an autoloader with that 8-second intra-clip reload, is just so powerful as well. I love tier 9. I love varied matchmaking. I can play it all day and still feel like I'm having fun. And with the new varied builds that you can have from having 2 sets of equipment, so you can change your vehicle depending on the map that you're playing, at least after you've elited the vehicles and got the field mods. If I could only keep one tier and one type of tanks, it would be these. So just to check that first game, yeah, unfortunately the artillery didn't get any base defense points, and we did get the 51 on the BZ-176. And in the second game, we did actually get a bit of hidden spotting, so this was 8k combined, with 2 tremendous carries from the same evening in tier 9 auto-loading tanks. And so if you're anything like me, give them a go. They do require you to know how to play like a light tank and an assassin occasionally. Set them up with a couple of builds. Make sure you've got a vision system exhaust and vents, or vision system exhaust and optics as one of your builds, and target maps like Prokhorovka, Malinovka, Muravanka, Redshire, Live Oaks, and Westfield with them, and you'll be having a lot of fun controlling the battlefield and only engaging when the situation suits you. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite tier and type of tank to play? And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Monday, it's time for some more Twitch drop tokens, so come and grab them if you need your last few to get the tier 7 premium tank for free, or to be able to pick up some of the other variety of goodies. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.